What's going on, Squirrel Squad? How you folks doing? Welcome back. It's good to have you. I am your host, this Squirrel. No idea where that came from. Anyhow, it's good to have you guys back. It's always good to spend time with you. And today we're going to look at something that I've looked at a few times, I think. I feel like I have anyways, but I think each one of them is different. And this is a new one. This is from the list, I believe. Let's have a look. It's from Top List is the name of the channel. So this is 10 things you didn't know about the United Kingdom. Now, it's been a little while since I've done one of these, and I feel like I have learned quite a bit about the United Kingdom. So I thought now would be a good time to come and find a new top 10 things I didn't know about the UK and find out how many of them I do know. And see how they present it, because sometimes I feel like when I watch videos that are similar to this or any kind of video and they're giving out information, sometimes I'm like, I heard that, but I heard that differently. And then it'll kind of snowball to like, oh, okay, I understand now, or whatever. Something to that effect. So let's check this out together. I'm interested to see what are the top 10 things that I allegedly do not know about the United Kingdom. If you're new here, I know that you should hit the subscription button. There's one thing, but that's not just the United Kingdom, that's everywhere around the world. Let's go, let's do it. Top 10.
An island nation, Britain has long been an iconoclast among European nations. In fact, in many ways, Britain is hardly a European nation at all, having more in common culturally with countries like Australia, Canada, and even the United States. Given this status, and with a history unlike that of most of Europe, there was just no way we could get away with not bringing you the 10 things you didn't know about Britain. Everyone has heard of London. It's one of the great cities of the world, and if you've never been there, you probably have a certain picture of what it's like. You know, sophisticated Englishmen sipping tea and savvy Cockney-speaking taxi drivers, but the truth is, London is incredibly diverse, composed of people from all over the world, many of them not even English. In fact, there's been a phenomenon called white flight, which has been ongoing for years. This describes the departure of traditional white Britons from London to suburban areas and places outside of London because they feel alienated by what they perceive to be an increasingly foreign population.
All right. I mean, we're going to find out. I'm not sure. This might be one of them woke videos. I don't know. Maybe this is real. I mean, I imagine it is. It's probably a real thing, right? White flight, though. That's just an interesting name for it. White flight. White people are flying away, you know? Of course, Superman was white, I guess, so makes sense, right? I don't know. I just thought it was kind of a weird name for what's going on. The white flight. I don't know. So here I am with this. I didn't know about the white flight part of it, but I definitely knew about the diversity part of it. I have found out that that England, London in particular, is a great melting pot of people from all different nationalities. That's one thing I have learned about the United Kingdom in my journey so far, and one thing that I was a little bit more surprised about, I think, in the beginning, because I thought that I always thought that England was more heavily weighted toward mostly white people, and it may be on the grand scale, but I was surprised by how diverse I think it was, because it's not portrayed that way all the time. Let's get back to the white flight. I was kidding about the woke thing. Calm down.
In 2013, experts actually measured the effects and came to the striking conclusion that only 45% of London is white British versus 58% in 2001. And this trend is likely to continue unabated. The United Kingdom is one of the most Eurosceptical countries in Europe. Britain has often been called the quote-unquote...
This might be the top 10 fancy words that go with the United Kingdom. I don't know.
...awkward partner in the EU, and countless polls and surveys have shown this. And with the Brexit referendum coming up, this shouldn't surprise anyone, but...
This is obviously, I think this is 2016, so I apologize for any Brexit references. Please just ignore them.
The real question is why this is the case. The United Kingdom has had a history of going its own way, from the creation of the Church of England to its truly unique style of governance, and culturally, it has more in common with other English-speaking countries. This special relationship with other countries, in particular the United States and Australia, is often cited by British Eurosceptics as a reason to leave and establish its own rules with which to deal and trade with them. But perhaps the essence of British opposition to the EU lies in its parliamentarian history and respect for order and the rule of law, and the participation of the public, which goes back as far as the Magna Carta in 1215, as the EU has shown itself to be greatly undemocratic, allowing unelected officials to create laws for any country, but without any public input. Most people have heard of Wales, which is part of the...
No, I didn't know about that skeptic. I didn't really quite get it, honestly. I mean, I got the basic gist of it, but anyways, let's move on to Wales.
United Kingdom bordering the Irish Sea.
I thought it was part of England.
But many people don't know that the Welsh are actually the descendants of the ancient Britons who were present after the last Roman legion had departed, and who had been in Britain centuries before Caesar first landed his ships in 55 BCE. Some people even know that the ancient Britons invited over the infamous Anglo-Saxons and Jutes to aid them in conflicts with the fierce Picts in exchange for a promise of land, which was followed by betrayal, conquest, and destruction at the hands of the people who would later become the English. But most people don't know that the name Wales and the term Welsh are the final insult added to injury given to the Welsh people by the English. The name Welsh is derived from the Old English word Wealch, meaning foreigner and sometimes slave, which means in modern English, Wales literally is the land of the slaves. This word can also be recognized in the German word Kauderwelsch, which means gibberish, originally a reference to words spoken by non-Germanic foreigners. King Arthur is a legend.
I didn't know that. I did not know that. I didn't know the meaning of Welsh. That's crazy. That's pretty interesting. See, I'm learning something. See, that's why I want to do this, because I'll still learn new shit. Stuff. No stuff. It's stuff. Damn it.
Around the world. When you think of the legend, you tend to think of a shiny knight wielding the magical sword Excalibur fighting evil. But most people do not know that King Arthur was probably based on a real person. Writing in the 6th century CE, the British monk Gildas describes the Battle of Mount Badon, where a Roman-descended war leader named Ambrosius Aurelianus defeated the opposing Anglo-Saxon force in a great victory. That might have been the historical Arthur, but the real legend began when the Welsh cleric Geoffrey of Monmouth wrote the Historia Regum Britanniae, or the History of the Kings of Britain in the 12th century. Considered a literary work of national myth, rather than an actual history, it features cryptic prophecies by the wizard Merlin implying the messianic return of King Arthur, the so-called once-and-future king who will rise to redeem the true British. And who knows, maybe Arthur will come back one day to liberate the British people. But for now, David Cameron probably isn't going anywhere anytime soon.
I thought King Arthur was real. Didn't know that.
Britain is a first-world European nation, yet it's also a nation with the youngest parents. Everyone knows about the phenomenon of teenage pregnancy, but the United Kingdom is breaking records in this exciting new field all the time. The title of an article from 2015 reads, quote, Britain's youngest mum, who became pregnant when she was just 11, was back at school within 6 weeks and is getting top marks, end quote. Her mother, the proud grandmother, was just 28 at the time. Another story reads, quote, killer convict to become Britain's youngest granddad, aged just 27, end quote. The British government has made various attempts to limit the number of teen pregnancies, but with little success. So it's unlikely that this trend will stop anytime soon. But you know what they say, kids just want to have fun.
I mean, we have teen pregnancy issues over here in the United States as well. I was shocked by the 11 years old though. Wow, and I'm sure that's happened here. I just haven't heard of it. But yeah, I mean, I didn't realize that was an issue. I didn't. I mean, it's an issue anywhere. Anywhere it happens, it's an issue. Don't misunderstand that. But I didn't realize that was like a thing that's like a bigger issue than what I expected to be, I suppose. Huh. Didn't know that.
The laws of motion. You all know them, and who discovered them? Isaac Newton. Regarded either as the developer or co-developer of calculus alongside the German Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, no one can deny the Englishman's genius and scientific contributions. Without Isaac Newton, it's quite possible many aspects of modern technology and civilization would ultimately not exist, such as flight and computer technology. But Newton wasn't just a scientist. In fact, he was a little bit mad in the head as well. A fanatical student of the occult and a literalist believer in the Bible, Newton spent many an hour in candlelight interpreting biblical prophecy and its impact on the world, as well as practicing the pseudoscience of alchemy. Scripture was more important to Newton than science, and he saw the physical world he studied as a reflection of God's design. This is not exactly the most rational view, but you don't get to be famous without your quirks.
Most scientists are nuts anyways. I don't know what that actually was, number 5. I guess that it's Isaac Newton was religious. Is that what I gathered from that? I guess that's what it was. It was just entitled Isaac Newton. Or Isaac Newton. We say it differently, that's fine. Yeah, I thought that I'm pretty sure I knew that Isaac Newton was British, but maybe I definitely didn't know that he had anything to do with religion. A lot of times science and religion don't cross paths.
A Puritan Englishman, Oliver Cromwell is a name that surely rings a bell. Catholic cleanser, military dictator, and unstoppable zealot, he is best known for his responsibility for the English Civil War that was born of his opposition to the English crown, then Charles I, as a staunch parliamentarian. But many people don't know that the Englishman had just as much impact on Ireland, if not more so, than on England. In fact, even to this day, Oliver Cromwell is the national villain of Ireland. Cromwell's legacy in Ireland is that of terror, oppression, murder, and destruction. After the Irish Catholic Confederation had taken control of Ireland, Cromwell launched a crusade against Ireland characterized by unmatched ferocity. Not even civilians were spared, as Cromwell marched ever onwards in massacre after massacre. In a short time, Cromwell had managed to conquer all of Ireland, merging it into the Commonwealth of England, Scotland, and Ireland, which led to the destruction of the Irish Catholic landowning class, who were replaced by Puritan Englishmen loyal to Cromwell's cause. The brutality of the Cromwellian conquest of Ireland is still remembered to this day, and has often stoked the fires of Irish nationalism against English influence and imperialism.
Alright. Some of these things are a little weird because it's not actually 10 things you didn't know about the United Kingdom. So it's 10 things you didn't know about the United Kingdom. Cromwell. Was it Oliver Cromwell? Oliver Cromwell. Oliver Cromwell. What about him? Like they're just names. That's all it is. You know, like some of these are just names. So it's not actually a factual thing. It's kind of like it's a person. Hey, 10 things you know about the United Kingdom. Ralph. So I get it. I'm not sure. Like I knew. Like I've heard of these people and I knew of these people, but I just didn't know all the stuff about them. So I'm not sure what information we're really getting here. But okay. Cromwell, sure. Didn't know all of that. Didn't know he was the national monster of Ireland or whatever. That was weird.
Although most people can only think of blood pudding and fish and chips when they think of British food, the United Kingdom is home to a surprising number of sweets. Ranging from confectionery to pastries, from jelly babies to pontefract cakes and flapjacks, the UK's food isn't just the bland stuff you may think you know, and in fact, offers a wide range of foods to please the sweet tooth. Maybe you've heard of haggis.
That's it. Just so you know, there's a ton of candy. Let's move on to haggis. I knew about the candy.
Which is a famous national Scottish dish, but you might not want to know what it's made of. Haggis is typically made of sheep heart, liver, and lungs, minced with onion and spices, wrapped in the animal's stomach.
Delicious.
Suffice to say, haggis is an acquired taste. But the reality is that the food stems from a time in the Scottish Highlands when there were limited resources and the Highlanders had to make do with what they could find, which was sheep in great abundance. Today, haggis has national standing, but it's a little odd when you consider its humble origins.
Sheep. We had lots of sheep, so let's eat them and we'll just say we just ate them. That's all we did to them.
The ownership of England has changed hands many times. But what most people don't know is that half of England was occupied by Denmark of all countries for 200 years. This area, called the Danelaw, which is to say where the Danes had legal jurisdiction, was the culmination of many forays into England on the part of the Vikings starting in the late 8th century, which later resulted in full-on conflict between the English and the Danish, which lasted until finally establishing a peace settlement. Many English cities and settlements actually have Viking names as a result. Places such as York, Derby, Whitby, and many more. For more time.
So, I don't know, top list. This is cool, whatever. There's some really interesting lists on this channel, so maybe I'll do some of these lists for the other side. But this one was about the United Kingdom. They got some a bunch of different countries. I might throw some of the country ones on here so we can learn together. Although I'm not sure. This was it wasn't pieced together the way I expected it to be, but that's fine. It's not my format, not my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you, gentlemen, or ladies and gentlemen, for allowing me to react to your content. I hope you have enjoyed my thoughts on these things. I didn't know that last one, by the way. I don't know if I commented. I think I did, though. But what did you think? I mean, was this a little weird, or maybe not? And, I know I'd say what would you add to this, but I think we've had that conversation a lot of times. So, what did you think of this specific list? That's what I'd like to know. Let me know, folks. I enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed the video. It was cool, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. And I'm happy to share it with you. And I'm happy to show you my genuine reaction to it and give you a little commentary of what I thought on it. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll hopefully catch up with you again tomorrow. And yeah, we're just chugging along, chugging along, chugging along. Do you guys do Thanksgiving? And if you do, when is it? Because I don't know. That I'm not sure of. I guess I can look it up. I'll look it up. I'll look it up. Good guys. Scroll up.